We're going to learn about function notation. Notation is just the way that something is written. We have notation for all sorts of things. For example, if you see this on a street sign, you know it means street, or you know this means lane, or like if you see something like this, 85 degrees, that's a degree symbol, like you know that means a temperature. So we have notation for all sorts of things. So function notation is the way that functions are written. Okay, now here is what it looks like. There's the name of the function, right? We talked about functions being like machines. So there's the name of the function. In this case, like let's say the machine is a toaster, right? And then there's the input. We put the input in parentheses next to it. Now, when we see this in the past, we've said, oh, this is multiplication. This is not multiplication. This is like a special way that functions are written, and it's a little silly because it does look like multiplication. But basically, here's the machine. Here's the input. So you put the bagel in the toaster, and what comes out, equal sign, here's the output over here on the other side of the equal sign, the toasted bagel. So in math, what it looks like is the machine is named with a letter, oftentimes an F, sometimes a G, sometimes an H, right? But this is called, the function is called F, and then we're going to input an X into it, right? We talked about inputs being X, and then the output is going to be this. Now, what that means is if I take a number X, let's say I take the number 3, what would I do with it? Oh, I would multiply it by 5 and add 7, right? Whatever X is, we're going to multiply by 5 and add 7. So this is what function notation looks like. So let's just kind of get this in our head, right? If I have a toaster, if the machine is a toaster and I put bread in the toaster, what comes out? Toasted bread. This next one's my favorite. If you want to pause and try to figure it out, you know, have fun. But if the machine is a person, and what's the input? The input is that the person eats food. What's going to be the output? And you could say energy or enjoyment, or the fun one, boop, would come out. Okay, right? This is machine, input, output. Okay, what if you have a machine, and here's the machine, and what does the machine do? It takes numbers and it squares them. It squares them. It multiplies them by themselves, right? Remember square, like this is 3 squared. Okay, so if I put a 5 into that square a number machine, what comes out? A 25, because that machine takes that number and says, oh, a 5? Okay, I'm going to do 5 times 5. Here's a different machine. This machine takes numbers and it subtracts 10 from them. If I put in a 27, what comes out? A 17 comes out, right? Because it took my number and it subtracted 10. What if my machine says, I'm going to take a number, I'm going to add 3, then multiply by 2? Okay, well, what if I put in, look, here's my machine. My machine adds 3 and then multiplies by 2, and I'm inputting a 7. So I'm going to put my 7 into my machine. First it adds 3. 7 plus 3 is 10. Then it multiplies by 2. So I get 20. And finally, this is what the machines actually end up looking like. Here my machine is my F machine, and my input is going to be an X value. And then the machine does something to my X value. So what if I input 5 into that machine? Well, what that looks like, and this is what we're going to get into right now, is this. 2, instead of 2 times X plus 1, it's 2 times 5 plus 1. Well, that's 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11.